Hello, and welcome back to Idjit's Gaming and our guided playthrough of Satisfactory. We got some things to get into today because we're going to actually work on a legitimately balanced iron factory, making smart plating, also making iron rods, screws, and iron plates, and reinforced iron plates for our own greed and inner loot goblins, because who doesn't like inner... Excuse me, why are you pooting over there? Nasty. Who doesn't like having loot? Also, we need iron plates for Mark 1 conveyors and everything else. We need iron rods for stuff, we need screws for things, and we need reinforced iron plates for Mark 2 conveyor belts. Ooh. But first, now that, our puppy has decided to stop pooing, we need to do a couple things. The factory I want to build requires more power than we currently have. So, we need more. And yes, that just blew my power grid. That's fine. We're going to put up another splitter. Actually, we're going to put down another biomass burner. And I'm doing this beforehand. That way I can line up my splitter in the correct spot. Because if I don't do that, then, yeah, it's not going to, I'm going to mess it up. We're going to put a couple more foundations out, and I'm just using the middle mouse button to quickly select the previous item to rebuild it. So if you're wondering how I'm selecting things without going into the build menu, middle mouse button. It's your friend. Alright, and we're going to put those 200 in there. Actually, I'm going to split some of those off. And all I'm doing right here is right-clicking so I can take some. Anyway, we've got chainsaw fuel. But beyond that, those can all feed in. We're going to bring these power lines down a little bit. Do basically the same thing we did last time and just... There we go. Yay! And we'll let that run for a little bit before I hook up power, but that's fine. Two things we need to do beforehand, now that we've got the power situated. I have purposely balanced this factory to roughly exactly the amount of power that is going to be produced there. But we need underclocking. To get underclocking, we need to unlock the overclocking. And I just need one cable in my pocket to make another constructor, a very quick constructor. Because I need to make a power shard. We have one blue slug, which will make one power shard. I am not a huge fan of using my power slugs this early, because I always wait until after I have unlocked sloops before I get started making power shards. But we need one, and I'm willing to give one up for the sake of the viewers. So I turned one blue power slug into one power shard. Go over here to overclocking, which just takes some iron plates. Not a problem at all. We'll just sneak over here, and we'll grab a stack of iron plates. We're going to be grabbing a whole lot of those stacks here in a few minutes. And come back down here to power slugs, and start research. And we get to listen to Ada do her spiel.
Overclocking development completed. Power shards can now be inserted into all buildings to increase input and output speed. Underclocking is also possible.
And
Note,
that's what we want.
Power consumption of overclocked buildings increases exponentially.
Now, there are people out there that might wonder why I'm bothering with underclocking. And the major reason for underclocking is not only does it reduce the input cost, it also reduces the power consumption of the building, which is kind of what we're going for right now. And the way I've got this planned out, it'll make sense here in a few minutes. But the thing is, all of this, all the smelters and miners and constructors and everything you see up there, all has to go. It's a fire sale. It's all got to go. Everything must go. Also, the hub and all this stuff needs to move. So we'll be back in a few minutes when I've got that all sorted. I'm not going to bore you with that. And welcome back. And you caught me in the middle of smacking my iron ore. Had to get rid of this. We're going to use all 4 of these iron nodes here. And as you see, the presto changeo, the what was here is gone. Wow. Wowie, wow, 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 wow. Alright, we need foundations. And I'm a big fan of having certain things on my hotbar in certain places. So we're going to put foundation on number 8. Or I'm going to put foundations on number 8. You don't have to. I just like having it there. And I'm going to try to build on the world grid, so I'm holding down the left control button. And I'm just going to zoop in a whole lot of foundations because, well, I don't have the blueprint maker yet. So, yeah, this is what I get to do. And I'm going to put these up kind of high, but I'm basing it off of that iron ore node. And I'm really, really hoping that I can still get a miner on this other iron ore node. So let's check that real quick, or we're going to have to slightly deviate from this plan. Yeah, it's not snapping to it, so that's not going to work. So get rid of all these. Easy peasy. Just hold down, go into the deconstruct mode with the F key. That's F as in Frank. And hold down control to multi-select. And that's all you gotta kind of do. I think right here will work. I need 8 foundations wide for this build. So, like I've said before in previous videos, and I will continue to say, do not ever be afraid to tear down a factory because you got better stuff, or you're just not happy with it, or it's not balanced, it's not producing the amount you want it to produce, or anything like that. That's okay. You don't have to make a factory and have it there forever and ever and ever. It's okay if you're not happy with it. And I'm going to build these out quite a ways because this is a pretty big build for this stage in the game. And you'll notice that I have a lot of cement and a lot of iron plates in my inventory. Because, well, I'm going to need them. And for a change, I'm going to try to be prepared and see just how few times I have to go get more resources. I can almost promise you I'm going to have to go get more. And I'm going to build it all the way over to this hill, and I'm going to blend it in. Because, I don't know, I like doing that. I like to have my foundations all the way over. That way they just go into the ground. We're going to throw down 4 minor Mark 1s. The orientation doesn't really matter, but you'll come to find out I'm quite anal when it comes to my layouts. So for me, orientation matters. It doesn't really matter for you. As long as you're okay with where things are, just like some people don't mind clipping. I do. So we're going to try not to do much clipping. And I'm not happy with the way that looks, so I'm going to turn it 90 degrees and face it that way. I really hope that's going to work. And a trick you can do if you want to get conveyor belts where you want them, you can put down conveyor poles, and when you snap or go to snap your conveyor belts in, you can just snap them to your conveyor poles. And see, that one's not going to work. It's too tight. So, plan fail. That's going to happen. Maybe, just maybe we can... Will you work, please? No? Don't like me. Alright, we'll do it a different way. Maybe. Why are you being such a butt? I do this all the time. Why are you being a butt today? Alright, good enough. We'll try to get this one in without clipping, because like I said, I'm not a fan of clipping my structures through each other. So there. It's not facing the right direction. So we'll just put down a conveyor pole about here. And look at that. Look how nice that looks. A trick for you. It took me a little bit to figure this one out. It's not a difficult trick. But a lot of times when you start building in one area and it's like this where, I can't get back up here, you can throw down ramps to get yourself up. But that's not actually the trick. The trick is, if you are trying to use the conveyor pole trick, if you put a conveyor belt on it, it will always be a green arrow. It doesn't matter which direction you face it. You can try to press R to switch it. It doesn't work. It just switches your build mode. If you need this to go that way, if you need this to be an orange arrow, you can throw down a quick conveyor belt. Just has to be a couple segments. And now this section will be an orange arrow. And you can hook that to another thing if you want to build kind of sort of backwards. But that's not what we're doing right now. We're going to put... that's the other thing I wanted on my hotbar. I wanted my conveyor lift on 6. And that's, again, just personal preference. And we're going to nudge these to where I want them. And to nudge, you just hit the lock hologram key, which is H on a PC. And you get them where you want. And that's side by side. Now when I turn this around, it's not actually where it's supposed to be now, is it? No, it's not. Why are you not where you're supposed to be? Because it's supposed to be back there. Make sure to line up the larger portion of your lifts, not this accordion looking part. That comes in later. And we'll just grab this belt and hook it to... I would hook it to that lift, but I did the thing where I put them in backwards. It happens. It happens a lot to me. I don't know if it happens a lot to everybody else, but it happens a lot to me. Because I don't pay attention. And I want this to be reversed. Now I want it on default. No, never mind. I want it on reversed. I don't know what I'm talking about. Once you put down the second portion, once you put down the first portion and you get to this mode, you can press R to switch your directionality of your lift. And I want orange arrows down. So, just as an effort to actually keep this where I want it, I'm going to do it one at a time. And I'm probably going to do a lot of stupid things, but you're probably going to do a lot of stupid things as well. And it's okay to do stupid things. Remember, there was a musician back in the day who literally wrote a song called "It's Okay to Be Stupid." And look at that. There we got a little bit of clipping there, which I'm not happy about. So we're going to fix that. Remember, when I said I was anal, I mean I'm pretty anal. There we go. Curved build mode for the win. Look how nice that looks. Doesn't that look pretty? And I could put more foundations here. But I get a little clippy clip, and I don't like that. So we're just going to have a gaping hole here. That's okay. And we got some nature in our way. Filthy, disgusting nature. It's got to go. It's in the way of progress. And nothing stands in the way of progress. Alright, that's gone. Now we need 4 smelters. We got 4 miners. These are all on impure nodes, which kind of sort of sucks, but it's okay. We can work with impure nodes. I have a picture of this build that I already done. So I just realized I have loaded twice. Because, like I said, I've already done this build. I've actually done it like 2 or 3 times because I wanted it to look nice for you guys. And we're going to put down 4 smelters. And we're going to realize I didn't have enough iron rods. Of course, there's always going to be something I run out of. But these 3 bins here are literally the storages from everything I was making in the last factory. And a quick, tiny tip, if you go into the deconstruct menu with just the F key, you can use it to see what's in a bin. Makes it really easy to sort through your bins real quick to figure out where you left this item or that item or every other item. Which, if you're anything like me and you have a habit of having way too many bins, comes in really, really handy. I just realized I probably put these smelters way too close. I'm going to try to get this to work. Oh, I'm in curved mode. That's why it's being a butt. Yeah, we're going to have to move those back. That's fine. That's fine. Like I said, don't be afraid to make mistakes. We all do it. I'm sure you've probably seen other content creators who will sit there and go through and they only show the highlights. I'm going to show you exactly. I'll show you my screw-ups. I don't care. I'm going to screw up. Because if you see me screw up, maybe you won't be so worried about your screw-ups. And we're just going to go ahead and snip these onto these conveyor poles. That one goes to that. I'm going to try to make this look kind of pretty for you guys because, sometimes aesthetics matter. If you're not a big aesthetics person, cool. You don't have to be. Obviously, not everybody has the same aesthetics. And I'm building this factory larger than it needs to be so that when I'm done, it will make more sense. Because I could build this all tight and convoluted, but that's just going to make it more difficult for you to understand at the end. We got the 4 smelters down. Every one of these smelters is just going to take 30 iron ore and make it into 30 iron ingot. So we'll select the iron ingot recipe. Turn iron ore into iron ingots. And I'll get rid of the iron ore that's in my pocket. Probably from... I have no idea why I have iron ore in my pocket. I'll be honest. So next up, we need 6 constructors. And I'm just going to go ahead and throw down another row of foundations because I've got this really close to the edge, and I don't like that. I'll switch back over to default just to drop that one in. Otherwise, you got to do more clickies. And we're not going to do the clickies. And I'm going to space this out a little bit because, again, it makes it easier to explain things down the road. And I really hope that's enough space. I don't remember how much space I put in the build last time. I got about a foundation and a half. Yeah, that's pretty close. And I'm going to put a little bit of space between these two, not because I need to, but because it serves as a mental reminder to me that they are going to be using different recipes. Now, this one will just be, these three will be iron plates. And these three will be iron rods. Because those are the two major things you make out of straight iron ingot. And the first two constructors are easy. We just bippity bop bop bop. The second one, we're going to do a little bit more interesting thing. We're going to put a splitter shortly after the output of the smelter. We're also going to put a merger off of this one. And we're going to send that merger that away. And we get to hook all this up. This splitter is going to go to the third constructor. We're also going to put a splitter in between these three. And I'm going to put this pretty close so we can get the conveyor belt looking all nice and pretty. Because pretty conveyor belts are a little easier to explain, and it's just my personal aesthetic. The reason we did this, 30 iron ingots goes into 30 iron ingot. I'll eventually get the words right. 30 iron ore become 30 iron ingots in a smelter. 30 iron ingots become 20 iron plates in a constructor. It's a straight 30 to 30 to 30. Yay! To 20. We're not going to talk about that part. The second one, same story. Miner to smelter to constructor. 30, 30, 30. This one, we've got the 30 to 30, but I don't want 30 going in here. I only want 15. So we're going to underclock this to 50%. Now you'll see it says 30, but in parentheses it says 15. Over here it says 20, parentheses 10. This is what I want. The reason being, these iron rods each want 15 iron ingots. I got 3 of them. I'm not underclocking any of them. So I need 45 iron ingots to make the iron rods that I want to make. So we split that one smelter from 30 into 2 belts. If you divide 30 by 2, 1 belt, 2 belt, that's 2, you get 15 on each belt. It splits evenly. If 30 comes in, depending on how many belts you put out, that's what you get. You just divide. This one, we have a belt of 30 coming out and a belt of 15 joining together to become a belt of 45. When it comes over to this splitter, you take 45 and divide it by 1, 2, 3. Well, 45 divided by 3 is 15. Yay, that's perfectly balanced. Whee! I kind of sort of wish that was the end of it, but no. No. We've got more to do. And I'm just going to go ahead and expand this out a lot. Partially because I'm going to be based here for quite a while. We're going to be here for a minute. A hot minute. A long minute. So, it doesn't hurt to have a big foundation, and feel free to build these as big as you want. If you ever come into one of my streams, you'll see when I build factories, I build monster platforms. Because I don't always know how big it needs to be right off the bat. And all I did there was I slid jump off the top of this merger onto this constructor. I could have just used the ladder, and just, sometimes movement's fun. Now the next step, let me check my handy dandy little thingamabobber. Okay. My picture, my guide. And that's why I did the picture, is so I have a guide. So I make sure that I do this in such a way that has already been deemed by some of my community members to be easily understood. These 20 iron plates are mine. I want them. They're my precious. We need iron plates because we use them to make conveyor belts. We use them to make a lot of stuff. So, those are going in a bin. I love my bins. It's going in a bin, and it's going to become mine. I'm not crazy. You're crazy. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm only slightly insane. These two I want to merge. And remember, this is a belt of 10 and a belt of 20. At the end of the episode, I'll go over everything and try to make it make a little bit of sense. It's going to get convoluted. Okay, so I need a merger here facing out. And I'll try to leave a little bit of conveyor belt between these just because it makes it a little bit, like I said, again, it makes it a little bit easier to explain. So we have a belt of 15 ingots in, 15 rods out. 15 ingots in, 15 ingots out. So that will become a belt of 30. 15 plus 15, 30. Ah! I fell. Let's use the handy dandy ladder. Turn my flashlight off. It's not nighttime anymore. I have a very, very bad habit of just leaving my flashlight on at basically all times. So this one, I only need, I think, 5 or 10 down the line. I don't need the full. So what we're going to do to divide this is we're going to set up a splitter into a merger. And we're going to look over here, grab a bin, because I want some iron rods for me. And I'm just going to stick this right there. I think that will work. Let me check my guide again. Yeah, I did it a little bit different in the guide, but that'll work. So remember, if we have 15 coming out, and we divide it, right now, we're not dividing it by anything. It's one belt out, or one belt into this merger, one belt out. So 15 in, 15 out. If we do that, if we put another belt, now 15, 7.5, 7.5. If we put another belt, we take 15 and divide it by 1, 2, 3. 15 divided by 3 is 5. I know a lot of this is very, very basic math, but I'm trying to go over in such a way that anyone can understand it. So because we have 3 belts of 5, those 5 go into my bin. Those are mine. Those, I can use those for whatever I want. We have another belt of 5 and a final belt of 5. 5 and 5 into a merger makes a belt of 10. And this belt's going to go that way. We'll talk about that one later. But first, we need more buildings. And we need our first assembler. And I'm not going to get into the assembler yet. I just need to put it down so that it's where I need it. And so when I build the next couple buildings, I'm not interfering with that. Okay, so I need a splitter. So I'll just look over there and I'll grab that splitter. And I'm going to put these two pretty close together. I grabbed the wrong thing. And if you find you do that a lot, if you go into the deconstruct menu first, it will highlight what you're looking at, and then you can middle mouse button to select it. I think it's called the picker tool. You can also select your constructors. And I need 3 of these bad boys. And I want to put one there. I just realized that's not nearly enough space. We'll just move the assembler. And I want another one lined up with this guy, and boom. So yeah, we need to move the assembler a little bit. That's okay. We'll line it up. We'll just move it down a little bit. I need enough room to snake a belt through here. So we'll hook that one up to that. And that way those 30 iron plates that I'm making from these two can go into the assembler. I'm trying to do this kind of slowly so that I'm not squirrel braining everything and we can do one thing at a time. So we have 2 constructors of iron rods making 30 iron rods. These need to go into making screws. Screws want 10 iron rods apiece and produce 40 screws. Well, we got 30 iron rods, so sounds like a really good time to just split it into 3. And you can also just copy the settings from here, and you can either do Control V or just click this paste button inside the constructor or any machine that has settings. So now we have 120 screws because each of these make 40. And we have our first assembler. Now this is where it gets a little bit confusing because I need very specific numbers here. I need to put a splitter here. And a merger over here. Because this assembler, if I select reinforced iron plates, which is what I want to make, wants 60 screws. Well, my constructors don't make 60 screws. They make 40. And my belt can't hold 80. So we've got a belt of 40 coming out of this machine, straight belt, and we've got a belt of 40 coming out of this one. And we're going to run into a splitter so we can take 20. We want 20 to go that way and 20 to go somewhere else. And the next one's the confusing one. Because we're going to do a little more division. We're going to run a splitter into a splitter. You might be wondering, why on earth did I just do that? And to be completely honest, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm sure future me can explain it a lot better than present me. But the basic gist is, I have 40 coming out. I have now divided that into a belt of 20 and a belt of 20. I don't actually want that there. So now I have a belt of 20 going into this splitter. Well, I don't want 20. The next thing I need to build needs 50. So we're going to take this splitter. And we're going to merge those. We're also going to try to sneak this belt. And we're going to have to do a little funky with this. There we go. Little funky. So we have a belt of 40 coming out of this machine here, being split into 2 equal belts of 20. 20 are going that way to join with the 40 coming out of that to make 60 for the reinforced iron plates, and 20 are coming out this way to join into this merger along with this belt of 20. They're also getting this belt of 20 that is splitting into what will be a belt of 10. 20 plus 20 plus 10 equals the 50 I need. desperately need. Now, I want these 10 here for my own greedy purposes. But I also need to bring this belt through here. So I'm going to throw down a couple of conveyor lifts. And they just pick the belt up. There are multiple ways to do this. Just for right now, the conveyor lift is very easy. It snaps in place. It wants to be at a certain height. And we get a nice little bridge. If I was another content creator, I'd do a bridge review. But nope. Okay. Now we have a belt of 50 coming out of that merger and a belt of 10 iron rods. They go into another assembler. Once I go and make a couple rotors. But for right now, we're building factories. We're going to grab this assembler and we're going to bring it down here. And I personally want it to line up off of that belt. So we're just going to nudge it into place. We're going to run this belt down here. Boom, boom, boom. We're going to set this over to rotors, which, would be awesome if I hadn't just had to go make rotors. And we're going to clock this down to 50%. At 50%, at 100%, it would take 15 megawatts. We're not giving it 15 megawatts. We're going to give it 7.5. We're going to grab the other line off this merger and hook it into the other port. Because that is our belt of 50 in the convoluted, messy belt system. But I think it makes sense. Remember, belt of 40 comes out, splits, belt of 20, belt of 20. Comes down again, splits again. 20 divided by 2 is 10, and 10 going up that lift. We've also got the same here, 40 divided by 2, belt of 20, belt of 20. 20 plus 20 plus 10 equals 50. Wow, wow, wow. We need 50 right here. Screws are the devil. Everybody hates screws. If we were doing alternate recipes, I would very quickly get far, 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 far away from doing screws. And we need one more assembler, and that assembler is the end of this line, and that is smart plating. The thing is, I'm greedy. I'm not giving this assembler all 5 reinforced iron plates. It only wants 2. So I'm going to take the other 2, or the other 3. Yes, Idjit. 5 divided by 2, or 5 minus 2 is 3. Yay, math. Like I said, this only wants 2 reinforced iron plates per minute. It also wants 2 rotors a minute, which is why I underclocked the rotor factory. I only need to make 2 to feed that assembler. Why make 4 at the moment? I also don't have enough iron to make that much. So I'm just going to try to get a nice looking belt down here. And I'm going to hook that in. We're going to add one more storage bin. Because we need the smart plating to complete phase 1 and actually build the orbital platform that goes around that ring that you see in the sky. So that's going to have to run for a little bit. But the nice thing is we're going to make 2 every minute. I need 50 to complete phase 1. So that's 25 minutes. That's easy mode. And these 2 don't get hooked up because this is 2 separate bins. Let's go get this all powered up. I'm a big fan of laying my power poles first and then going through and adding my power wires. Then we'll put the power poles down, then we'll add the power wires. I'm going to sneak this one over here. And I like to try to line them up because, again, I'm anal. It's a recurring theme. And I always try to put 2 power poles between buildings. That way I can hook up 2 buildings to 1 power pole. And then I still have 2 connections. That way I can run 1 to the right, 1 to the left. These center ones are only getting 3 connectors. 1 to the actual building, 1 to the next power pole, and 1 to the previous power pole. And see, this one is full. But I don't care, because I can come down here and grab this one and drag it down to the next set of machines. Now, assemblers are a bit weird, and their power wires over here on the left. So I try to put the power pole over by the left. And 1 more assembler. Or 2 more assemblers, sorry. I don't know how to count. That should be apparent by now. And you can literally just ride the conveyors if you really want to. They don't only move parts, they move you as well. And when you get into later game conveyor belts, they become really fun slides. And so now we need to get power up here, and I can just grab this power pole. And I can hook it up to there. But first, the miners need power. Because the miners aren't going to do anything if they don't have power. So we're going to move around a little bit. And I'm going to bring this around. And I'm okay with this one powering both of these miners because it's the end of this line. I'm a big fan, normally when I do my builds, is I will power up my miners and let them run for a while. Then come in once the belt is completely full, the miner is completely backlogged, and power up my smelters. Once the smelters have done the same thing, I power up the next step, and the next step, and the next step, and the next step. But we're not going to do that right now. We're just going to turn it all on. And if we notice, because I've overclocked all that stuff, my maximum consumption is, right now it's saying 159, which is kind of scary because I only make 150. But it'll be fine. It's only showing that because those items that are underclocked haven't gotten any items to reset their power. This is still saying it wants 4 megawatts. It's not going to want 4 megawatts once it actually gets some ingots down here. Anytime you change the production speed or output speed of a machine, you have to wait for it to prime itself. It will have to build one of whatever it wants to build to reset, which comes in really useful later on down the road when you start getting into slooping. We're not going to deal with slooping today because it is well outside the scope of today's project. But see, now that it's gotten some, it dropped from 4 megawatts to 1.6 because it's not a linear consumption. At 100%, it wants 4. At 50%, it only wants 1.6. That doesn't make sense. If it's only running at 50%, shouldn't 4 become 2? Yeah, well, it doesn't. There's math involved, but I'm lazy and we've done enough math today. I don't want to get into the details of how that calculates out because that's a lot more math than I want to do. My head already hurts from the math we've done. Now, I don't need these screws in my inventory, and I want to get this down off of 15 megawatts. So I'm just going to hold down left control, and I'm going to click the screws and the rods in, and that went from 15 megawatts to 6. That went from 4 to 1.6. This one went from 15 to 6. Now my maximum consumption is 147. My maximum production is 150. We are safe. As long as this little power plant over here keeps getting food, we got power. We have enough power to run this, and I only need this to run for 50 minutes to get the smart plating I need to complete phase 1. Because once we complete phase 1, we get a new toy. And I'm going to go ahead and let this run for a little while, and we will be back when I've got the smart plating to do the next step. Because we might as well complete phase 1. We're 25 minutes off of it, and all we gotta do is sit here and wait. So I will sit here and wait. You will sit there and watch a boop. And through the magic of editing, we're back. That didn't hurt at all, did it? A little time traveling. We got 49 of the 50 plates, but I wanted to take a second before we got that last one to point something out that I didn't quite cover. So, reinforced iron plates come out at 5 per minute. I am splitting them down 2 belts, so 5 divided by 2 isn't 2, isn't 3, it's 2.5. This thing only wants 2. So what is going to happen, what is already happening, and this is the entire reason why I waited to highlight that, is I'm getting 2.5 a minute down each of these belts. So this machine is getting a slight bit too much, which is okay. It's okay. Don't freak out. Don't worry about underclocking or overclocking or anything like that. What's going to happen is this input buffer is going to fill up. Once it does, this belt will fill up. Once this belt fills up, instead of 2.5 coming down this way, basically the 2 that this machine requires will come down and everything else will go that way. So we'll get 2 down this way and 3 down that way. It just takes a minute. As you see, we only have one rotor. I have one rotor. But we're running at 100% efficiency, 100% uptime, 100% number, which is what we want. That means everything here is balanced to this machine. This is what we want. We want everything balanced to this machine. And if I go to any other machine, it will be at the correct efficiency. If I come here, it's 100%. If I come over here, it's 100%. 100%, 100%, 100%. Now, if I go to this assembler, it's probably not going to say 100% because, no, it says 100 because it's clocked to 50%. I always forget if, but hey, we got the 50. So let's go over to Space Elevator. Let's complete phase 1. Let's listen to Ada. Now, there are ways to just belt things in. And when I first started playing this game, I put down a storage box here, and I ran a belt into the space elevator. I put my parts in the box, and I belted them in. You don't have to do that. Just come over to the space elevator anywhere, click, hold down left control, click again, boom, it goes in. Now that it says completed, we get to pull the lever. Wrong lever! And we get to listen to Ada again.
Welcome to the Project Assembly Pioneer Progress presentation. Congratulations, the Phase 1 project part shipment is now ready for delivery. On delivery, Phase 1 will be completed and the distribution platform will be constructed. After completion of Phase 1, the technologies of Tiers 3 and 4 will become available in the hub. Highlights are automated power, steel production, personnel transportation, and many more. Completing Phase 2 of Project Assembly is your next main objective. New project parts will need to be produced and delivered to the space elevator as you have done previously. Continue to construct, automate, explore and exploit for a better fix-it future.
And we launch. Oh, please be cloudy. Oh, damn it, it's not cloudy. Alright, go up here so we can get a better view. Go into photo mode. Get rid of the UI. And we gotta watch a really, really cool animation because I don't care how many times I beat this game. I don't care how many times I see this. I love these space elevator animations. Every one of these is just awesome. So if you've been skipping these, if you've just been throwing the parts in and running away, I highly suggest looking up and watching the animation. Coffee Stain Studios did an amazing job in so many aspects of this game, and it's aspects that you wouldn't even think about. And here's Ada.
Phase 1 of Project Assembly completed. This is only the beginning of Project Assembly, the first step towards saving the day. You have performed adequately so far. Reminder: not only is Fix-It saving humanity, it is saving all of Earth, including kittens and puppies. It is statistically likely that you appreciate the continued existence of kittens and/or puppies. Continue the work for their sake. Continue the work for Fix-It. It is time to start the work on Phase 2 of Project Assembly.
But I have lizard puppies. I already have puppies. But yeah, puppies and kittens. What we care about isn't puppies and kittens. What we care about is coal power. If you notice, this requires rotors. So we're going to do something up here. And yes, I see that to complete phase 2, I need 1,000 smart plating. That's a big ask. Remember, we make 2 per minute right now. That's 500 minutes. That's like 8 some hours. And no. Just no. What we're going to do is we're just going to come in here and we're going to turn this off. The reason we're turning this off is because that will force us to not run anymore, which means it won't eat my rotors. I need 50 rotors to get coal power. And the entire reason I want coal power is there's a really good coal node over there. There's another coal node over there. And there are 4 coal nodes over that hill, through the woods. Grandma's house is that way. And there's a crap ton of coal around Grandma's house. There's also water, which we need for coal power, because a coal power plant requires coal, obviously, and water. Basically, it's a coal-powered steam generator. Put coal in and heat it up and turn water to steam. Steam turns a turbine. Turbine generates power. Yay! We don't have to deal with this crap anymore. So next time, we're going to get coal power. And we got a whole lot of other stuff that I want to unlock. That most of them take rotors. The only thing we need smart plating for is the space elevator. Vehicular transportation? Yes, please. Basic steel production? Yes, please. Beat 'em stick? Oh, I can smack things with a stick instead of a taser? Yes, please. So yeah, we want everything in tier 3. We also have the blueprint maker. Awesome. Mark III belts. Amazing. Advanced steel production. Yay! Power towers. I want power towers. And you'll understand why when we get to power towers. That's a little bit down the road. That's not going to be next episode. Sorry, guys. Because we got to unlock a lot of stuff before we can make those. We got to unlock the encased iron beams. We got to make steel beams, which you need steel beams to make the encased industrial beams. For now. We need modular frames, which we don't even have unlocked. We don't have Mark II belts unlocked. We also need a fair amount of reinforced iron plates. So by turning off that assembler that's eating my reinforced iron plates, they're going to build up. So I will quickly go over this factory again, even though I went over it multiple times, in case you skip to the end of the video. This way, it's all laid out nice and neat. I have 4 Mark I miners, not overclocked. Each one produces 30 iron ore on an impure node. They all run down 4 belts, even though I could easily combine them. I'd have to split them back out to go into 4 smelters. No, well, I'm just going to run 4 belts. Each smelter eats 30 iron ore and makes 30 iron ingots. One smelter goes straight into a constructor, makes 20 iron plates for my use. There's a storage bin over there, which you can kind of sort of see. Hi! The second smelter runs into another constructor, same as the first, making 20 iron plates. The third smelter comes down, splits its belt of 30 into a belt of 15 and another belt of 15. The fourth smelter, belt of 30, joins with the belt of 15 to become a belt of 45. The belt of 15 here feeds into an underclocked constructor set to 50% clock speed to make 10 iron plates. The belt of 45 feeds over into a splitter, making 3 belts of 15, feeding into 3 constructors that require 15 iron ingot to make 15 iron rods. Those 15 iron rods from the last constructor comes out on a belt of 15, splits into 3 belts of 5. 5 go into a storage bin. The other 2 belts of 5 combine back to a belt of 10. The remaining iron rods get merged together to become a belt of 30, which splits again into 3 belts of 10, making screws. Screws want 10 per minute. We're running 100% efficiency. The iron plates, the belt of 20 and the belt of 10 from the underclocked constructor, come out, join into a merger, become a belt of 30. They feed into a reinforced iron plate assembler that wants 30 iron plates. The screws come out on belts of 40. Each one of these belts coming out of the constructor is a belt of 40. All of these 40 come into a merger to go towards reinforced iron plates. This belt of 40 comes out, splits into 2 belts of 20. This belt of 20 joins with this belt of 40 to become 60, perfect number needed for that assembler. The remaining 20 come out, join into a merger. That merger is also fed by another splitter, taking a belt of 40 to a belt of 20 and another belt of 20. We got 20 plus 20. This belt of 20 goes into a splitter that makes it into a belt of 10 and another belt of 10. So this becomes 20 plus 20 plus 10 equals 50 into an assembler. This belt of 10 goes over to a bin for my own greedy personal uses. The belt of 50 joins with the belt of 10 rods from earlier to make rotors in an underclocked at 50% clock speed assembler to make 2 rotors every single minute. Those 2 rotors come down here to this assembler, which is currently turned off for reasons, because I want rotors right now. I don't need smart plating at this second, which is the exact the 2 rotors a minute is exactly how much I need for smart plating. The reinforced iron plates come out at 5 per minute, supposed to get split into 2.5 and 2.5. Solely expecting the 2 per minute here to completely fill up backlog as it's already done, and send the remaining 3 per minute this way, and that eats 2 per minute. I need reinforced iron plates for my own use, so that's why it's turned off. I also need rotors for my own use. So again, this can be turned off, and this all can idle for a couple hours while I build up the 50 required rotors. It's only going to take about half an hour. So next week, this will be easy mode. Hopefully I have enough biofuel. Otherwise, I'll break out the chainsaw and I'll go chop down some trees. But that does it for this week's episode. If everything made sense, awesome. If there's anything that I went over too fast or doesn't make sense or you're confused on, drop me a comment down below and I will try to go over it a little differently in the next episode. I can only learn to teach you better by you telling me how it's not clicking. But if you enjoyed the content, make sure to smack that like button like it owes you money. If you're new here, smack the subscribe button. I'm trying to hit 200 by the end of February, so I would be greatly appreciative if you would smack that button as well. And until next time, I've been an Idjit, obviously.